No, that doesn't go there. Hang on. We already took a look at the Microsoft Graph Explorer on the website. We logged in, we took a look at the data, we looked at the JSON payloads, how it looks like the stuff on portal.azure.com and Intune, and how everything correlates. Today, we're going to do it through PowerShell. Later. Why do we want to do this with PowerShell? Why don't we just use the Graph Explorer? I mean, this is kind of like, we can look at stuff here, right? This is the Explorer. I left it the way it was. We can make queries. We can look at things. But that's about it, right? We can look, but we can't do anything to it. Like, think of it as the iPad of the Microsoft Graph, right? Consumption. We want to do things with it. But before we can do things, we have to get comfortable with using PowerShell for it. We have to know how to use PowerShell to do this. So what are we going to do? I'm going to open up ICE. Spoiler alert, you have to know some PowerShell, and I'm not qualified to teach it. So the first thing we got to do is we need some graph modules, right? The biggest module is just Microsoft Graph, and it's got everything inside of it. So let's go ahead and install module Microsoft.graph. And this should have everything in it. I am going to allow clobber, and because I already have this installed, so I'm just going to overrun it, and we'll probably add a force switch on there. And let's see what this does. There we go. It's installing all these pieces. This is everything. In the future, when you want to kind of parse this down and only work with certain pieces, there's Microsoft.graph.intune, Microsoft.graph. Power BI, or whatever. They have all different pieces, right, to this, but this is literally the whole thing. Okay, we have the module installed. We import the module. Microsoft.graph. Shouldn't be an issue importing it. Okay, everything got loaded. We're going to go ahead and clear the screen because that's messy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to connect to the graph. Now, how do we do that? So the first command that we need to know is connect MS graph. All right, how does this work? Just like anything else, right? It's going to prompt us to sign in. Just like on the web, it's the same thing. I'm going to go ahead. It remembers me from last time. Let's go ahead and authenticate. Don't look at my password. You probably can't anyway. That's okay. Boom, we're in. So it tells us immediately that's the UPN we logged in with, and that's our tenant ID. How do we know that's the tenant ID? I'm so glad you asked. 32F297. If you're curious, you go to aad.portal.azure.com. Brings you to Azure Active Directory. We go down to Properties. 32F297. I think that's close enough, right? That's our tenant ID right there. So we're in. Now we can run some of these modules we have. What are the modules? I mean, there's so many commandlets in here. Few things, right? Get, let's see. We should have AAD group. Probably going to give us all our Azure AD groups. Definitely looks like it is. Prod admins. Yeah, look at this. All our groups. That's pretty cool. What about users? You could probably do that. Get Azure AD user. Oh, I must call the connect Azure AD commandlet. All right. Could have edited this out, but I didn't because it's going to happen to you, right? This is an easy one. We hit an error. It tells us what to do. Let's go ahead and call that commandlet to connect to Azure AD. Same thing. Wants us to authenticate. A lot of endpoints up here, so sometimes you have to do this more than once. So, let's go ahead and authenticate. Okay, so it looks a little different. Same tenant ID, just different permissions, right? So now we're going to go same command, get Azure AD user. Boom, those are my users. Now, I'm getting that information on here. I can do the same thing with devices, I believe. Get AAD device. Get Azure AD device. Boom. Got all that stuff. So now I'm getting data from the graph with PowerShell. Now, what can I do with it here? Well, I'm looking at it, right? That's fine. This is maybe not the best ways to look at it. So, you could always go ahead and, I don't know, use the built-in out grid view with PowerShell. Let's talk about that. So get Azure AD device. Now, we use pipe out grid view. We could do this, but if you want to be real, if you want to be like legitimate, you just do OGV. OGV. Boom, now I got this nice user interface that PowerShell provides. So if you got a lot of devices, you could scroll through, you could filter. If I want to look for the ones that start with Rubik's Dash, I got that. If I want to look for some that start with Z0T, This is a great way to cycle through data. I don't even have to log into the console now. I just connect through PowerShell and do this. So this is great. Same thing with my users, right? Get Azure AD user, out grid view. No, we're the real deal. You want to be the real deal, you're going to go OGV. Boom. I can look at my users. You can see everything here, right? It's good stuff. But now that we're in here with PowerShell, now we can actually start doing stuff to it. So that's the next part.